Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Delighted to see you on what for me is actually a very sunny afternoon, having been quite rainy this morning. So the sun's streaming in the window, which I'm sitting opposite. So it's really good to see you. We've got a delightful guest this afternoon called Sarah Haran, and she's talking about a subject that's dear to many women's hearts, not least mine, and that is handbags. We were talking this morning and the comment was made that handbags are wonderful because they one size fits all. You know, you don't have to be a particular size. And of course, they're incredibly useful things to have. Who can manage without a handbag when you go out? But they can be a really important fashion accessory because they can lift an outfit, and certainly the colour. If you have a coloured handbag, then that can add a bit of pizzazz to whatever outfit you're wearing. So we love handbags, and so it's nice to have a conversation all about handbags with somebody who has built a business around the concept of her USP really is around a very adaptable bag, a bag that you can change, that you can have in different ways in order for it to be to go with lots of different outfit and have different uses. So I'm going to introduce Sarah Haran to you. Just a bit of background about Sarah, which I think is really interesting because we're all a group of older women, and she had a long career in tech. Not something that you think would prepare her particularly to become a handbag designer. But then, about 5 years ago, just after she turned 50, she decided to turn a hobby that she'd had for a while into a business. I always think that's an incredibly brave thing to do, having started a business myself, as you all know. So I want to hear her story. So I'm going to hand over to you, Sarah, and just tell us really about what inspired you to start your business 5 years ago. Why did you do it?
A moment of madness. Thank you for everybody. Thank you particularly to Tricia for having me here today. And thanks for everyone interested in hearing about what some people call me the bag lady. So thank you for interest. So yeah, a moment of madness, I guess, but actually probably more of a leap of faith. I had been making handbags for really as a hobby from about 2013, and it just grew organically online, partly through my tech business that I was running along with two other guys actually, who I have to say were very patient given this sudden obsession with handbags, which I don't think they actually thought would actually go anywhere. So it was a bit like this pat on the head. That's nice you're doing handbags, Sarah. And by the way, could you just remember we need to look after our actual customers. So 2017, it had got to the size where I couldn't really ignore the handbag side any longer. And I thought that I would really like a change. You're right, Tricia, crazy thing to do in your, well, at 50. Not only that, leaving behind, you know, a job where I was really at the top of the pile. I couldn't really do any more with where I'd got to. So I had a big network. I just had everything set up, and possibly I should have been maybe coasting for the next 10 years till retirement. But instead I thought, I'd like to do something really different. And this handbag thing looks as if it's got some legs. So I'm going to give it a go. And I literally did take a leap of faith because you just never know, you know. But I thought, well, it's got to be different. And what's the worst that can happen? You know, I could go back to tech, I guess.
Yeah, all of those things I think run through the minds of an entrepreneur. You're obviously an entrepreneur, a bit like me. And yeah, what's the worst that can happen? Would I be able to cope with that? Yes, of course I could. Do I have something to fall back on? Yes, of course I have, etc., etc. So I'd really like to start with why bags, because it seems to me that I think I'm right in saying that you had, you know, before you started messing around with bags as a hobby in around 2013, you didn't actually, you know, you had no knowledge of the leather industry or anything like that. It was literally something that was totally new to you. So, and I think that bags are quite a challenging thing to make because they're they're made of a very, you know, made of leather, and it would seem to me like quite a challenging thing. So, why did you choose bags?
So yeah, I could have gone and made clothing again. I thought about shoes, but I thought they really would be quite difficult around the whole fitting thing. And the good thing about a handbag for me was that it's made in parts. You can make each individual piece separately, and then at the very end, everything comes together. I made a few material bags to start with, and I thought it's not really me. And I liked the thought of the challenge of leather as well. So I started with garment leather, and then quickly moved into much heavier leathers. And at that point, realized that I would have to get the right equipment. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I was like, oh, I need the next sewing machine that will get me through this, and I need this and I need that. And actually, when you boil it back, for making handbags, you don't need a load of equipment. You probably need three things: a sewing machine, obviously, a machine called a skiver that will allow you to make the edges of the leather really thin, so you can fold things over. And then, if you want to, an embossing machine. And I didn't really need the embossing machine. So these two bits of kit. But the most important thing was the sewing machine. And so in the week, I would make all the parts, and then at the weekend, I would then put them all together. So it's kind of satisfying, because you would see your week doing all these little things, and then at the weekend, I'd have the joy of it all coming together and actually becoming a handbag. So that was it gave you a sense of accomplishment at the end of the week.
You make it all sound so easy, Sarah. It wasn't as easy.
Well, there was lots of mistakes along the way, shall we say. Yes, there definitely was, because I literally was learning. And when I first started making the bags, I was very much making them like you would make a dress. So I was using dressmaking skills for handbags, and as I got smarter and understood more, I realized that I would have to change some of the things that I was doing. So I did manage to find a couple of courses. Quite difficult to find these courses. I went and worked in a factory in Dublin, or just outside Donegal actually, for a couple of weeks. So that was really handy. And then it was just absorbing everything. I did take handbags apart as well. So I would go and buy, cheap handbags, and justify to myself, how I take it apart to learn. And I think I only ever took one very expensive mulberry bag to pieces, just as a final look-see, and then to see if I could put it back together, just as a test, really. So it was a bit of fun. It was highly distracting from tech, so that was quite good as well. So yes.
That sounds amazing. It's a bit like some guy taking a car apart, to see
exactly.
Yeah. And then he's left with a couple of screws at the end. It's like, oh, I hope these don't hold up.
Yeah, they were the important ones that kept the engine fixed in. Yeah, so things like that.
But anyway, that's a lovely story, and well done to you for doing that. You also told me a little bit this morning about how closed and not exactly hostile, but how I can't remember the word you used, but when you tried to go to trade shows and things like that, tell us a little bit about that experience, because you were a rank outsider. So how did they treat you?
Yes, well, it's a funny thing, because coming from tech, where obviously if you worked at Facebook or one of the really big places, there would be bits that you couldn't get into, but fundamentally, I think there's an understanding in tech that not everybody knows everything, and everyone is very willing to talk and collaborate, and it's a very open type industry. Whereas the fashion industry, when I first got into it, I remember I had no network, and I would go to shows where it was all these little boxes with doors, and it's quite intimidating, because you'd have to knock on the door and sort of like, let me in, please. And the fashion industry is obsessed that everyone's going to copy everything, which of course they do have a whole industry that's set out to do just that. But it makes them a very closed industry, and very unlikely to help you if you're just sort of walking onto the stand from nowhere. So luckily I was persistent, and you know, I was desperate to learn, so I just found ways round that. I sort of treated it like a tech problem that I was trying to solve for customers, really. But yeah, much more closed industry. I think they pride themselves more recently on being a little bit more open. But I think it's kind of easy to say that. I'm sure if I rolled it back, it would be just as difficult. But I think there you just have to be persistent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure you were the same when
I
you
understand it's a great
started.
testament to how determined you were to make it work, and you know, good on you for persevering in the way that you did. And then there came this moment, I think it was March 2017, you told me, when you took the leap of faith. You left your
Yes,
job, your tech job,
I did.
in which no doubt you felt very comfortable and competent, and took this leap into starting this business. So what inspired that moment when you actually decided to
Yeah, I know when I had my actual moment of madness.
Mm,
So I think that I had got to the point where I could see that we had enough customers there, and that actually, I think when you're creating a product, the most important thing actually in anything, even if it's a service job, is that you need to be able to sell that service in whatever shape it was. And what I started to notice was that I was starting to get customers that I'd never met before that were interested in the bags and were interested enough to purchase one. So that gave me some confidence in that, you know, it wasn't just my mum and my mum's friends that were buying from me saying, oh, that's nice, I'll buy that because I've known her since she was a child or something. So that was nice to get past that. And then having some other customers, as I say, that gave me the confidence that, well, maybe there is something in this. So it's either you continue as is and it just stays as a little hobby, or you could put your heart and soul into it. I also think at that sort of crossroads for me was almost didn't feel right that I was still working for the other company, and almost taking a salary from them, but only having half of my heart in it anymore. And so I thought at that time it's difficult to do the two things and to do them both well. So I thought I owed it to that business to do the right thing, and to give myself the opportunity to try something out. So that's what I decided I would do this. And it took me 12 months because I had a 12-month notice period. And then I was contracted for another 6 months after that. So, you know, it wasn't just that I could just walk away after a month. So, which was the way I would have wanted it anyway. I would not have wanted to have messed up the business that I was involved with in building, to just go and mess that up on a handbag journey. So it was a very considered move. And then I was there on my own in my house. I got an office, and I stripped out one of the rooms and made it my office, tiny little thing, and sat there and thought, right, well, what now then?
That's brilliant. That moment when you actually start doing it. So you started off with a range of 4 bags, and what I want to explore with you now is what makes your bags special, because you do have a sort of USP for your bags, and also tell us a little bit about that original range that you had. And I think you've got. I asked you to show us one of your
Yeah.
popular, the Dahlia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our most popular bag now, it's quite difficult to see, is a tote bag. And this really was inspired by my day-to-day life, moving from, you know, getting up in the morning, going to work, then maybe going out at lunchtime, and then going to an event in the evening. So I created this tote, and the thing that, I mean, there are 1,000 totes out there, but the thing that made it different was that you could change the look of it in seconds. So you can literally take off this part of the bag and run out to lunch with that without having to take your entire life with you. And then if you were going out in the evening, you would then be able to change the look of the bag. So you could either take the big bag with you, or you could then have this separate piece that you could then take off as well, depending on what your evening was going to bring you. And then we created a whole bunch of different types of things that you could hang off the bag, again, to make it look different. So I don't know how easy it is to see the little screen, but you can see then we had a whole load of different, what we call restyle accessories. And all of these accessories move across our range. So this pom-pom tassel would fit on all 10 of our other bags. So if you buy one piece, you know that you can move it round, and it gives you, well, convenience. It also means that you're not having to buy, you know, a load of different handbags. If you wanted something to look a bit more swish for the evening, then you could just add on a piece. And so that was a really key thing. And the other thing about them was they have lots of pockets inside. And a lot of people in the industry of handbag making, traditionally they make the outside look amazing, but they do not think about the inside, the whole functionality piece. And for me, that was really important, that, you know, you want to be able to find things if you're at a big meeting or even just going out with your friends. You don't want to be poking around in your bag. You want to look like able to pull things out and look efficient, and that efficiency can give you more confidence. And so that was one of the things I really wanted to be able to do. And then, you know, we've got lots of different straps, you know, so this strap just looks like, you know, a strap. But what you can do with it is you can wear it two ways, and then you can also take off the chain piece and add on the shorter piece onto, just show you, onto another part of your bag. So everything moves around, and not in a sort of kitsch way, you know, not in an annoying way, but in a way that's meant to offer you more beauty and function with your handbag. And I think that that gives a much different type of a bag. It's basically your handbag. You can customize it, and you've got endless ways of styling it. So no two bags need ever look the same. We had an event recently, and we had about 50 people there, and every single one of the ladies there was carrying, you know, a base bag, and they'd all made them look entirely different. And for me, that was like such a moment of, oh my God, you know, they've all got this type of bag, or maybe three of our best sellers, but they've all made them look completely different and matched them to their own personalities and their outfits of the day. So that just shows you the sort of the practicalities of what we're trying to do here.
That's absolutely brilliant, Sarah. And all of that sort of design side of it, in terms of, you know, I mean, this is form and function, really, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
A beautiful object, but you've thought about it from a very, very practical point of view of how the bag works, what you need to, you know, what you need this bag to do, but at the same time, you know, high quality and also design standards. And was that your idea? I mean, you know, this all come out of your head, this idea?
It all come out of my head, yeah. Yeah, driven by my need to, you know, when I was traveling, and to be able to move from day to night with ease. So that made it much, much simpler for me. And it gave me the inspiration to be able to change things. Because the other thing is, you know, if you're flying on any of the airlines, really, you don't want to take a load of stuff with you. So you could just take one bag and literally use it all week, but change it every single day, so it looks entirely different. And I've seen our customers that literally do that. Some of them take maybe a smaller bag, and we have all the different things that you can attach and do with that. To go on holiday, take one bag. That sounds kind of crazy to people, but actually it means you just have a whole load of little pieces that you can keep in your suitcase, and every night your bag will look different. So that for me, and that's allowed us actually the ability to build a community as well, because we're not trying to just do a one-off sale here. We're trying to build a bit of a lifestyle, and bring people back together to discuss, you know, their love of handbags, but also their personalities in our community are able to shine through, because they can show how they're using the handbags. So I'm almost creating just a base, and they're then free to do however they or whatever they want with that bag. So that's kind of a nice thing to be able to do, to give people a bit of joy.
Yeah. I'm going to show you the bag that you sent me. So I chose a pink one. That's my pink one. It's got, I've customized this at the moment with this thing across here and the pink tassel, so that's all matching. But you also sent me this, which is
an ivy. Yeah.
A completely different look, but this of course can attach to that. I didn't realize this until we were on the call this morning. How dumb am I? But so I've got that, and then this comes with a lovely chain, so that sort of is nice for the evening potentially, although I have used this in the evening as a clutch bag, which I rather like. And this is the perfect size for my Apple Mac laptop, which I do all my work on. So when I'm not working at home, I'm working in the office, this is the bag that I take with me. And I did use it, was it last week? I've lost track of time. Yeah, last week I was up in Cornwall for a couple of days, and then I went up to Leeds. And this bag was just brilliant for everything that I needed to go in there for that. And then I took a smaller bag with me as well, a crossbody bag, which fitted in there, but also I could use separately. So yeah, I'm a great convert, and I do love this pink. And because I'm cool toned, this pink goes with everything that I've got in terms of clothes. It just literally, coordinates and works.
It's a really nice pink. That try to keep it sort of warm and
pink. Yes, it's not one of those sort of sugary pinks. It's actually
not garish either. Yeah,
pink, which is really nice, and it's also beautiful leather. So you went from a 4 handbag collection. What's your collection now?
So now we've got about 12 different shapes as base bags. And then we have an extensive range of accessories that are actually all similar, but we bring out every quarter, we'll bring out different updates so that way you can update your base bag. You can of course buy a new base bag whenever you want, but the idea for me was that you were able to update something easily without then having to buy a whole new bag. So a lot of our customers do get very excited, and many of them have got a whole, I reckon some of them have got more bags than I've got, actually, the truth be told, if I just discount myself from my stock shelves, of course. But it's that ability to change the look for whatever occasion that they find themselves at. So be that the weekend or after work, just anything in your life. And I'm just trying to, make a bag that's beautiful, very functional, and can fit around your life and allow you to customize. So yeah, that's been
good. Well done, you. And that's I love the concept. I love the way that you've thought it through, the practicalities of it, but also the beauty of what you're producing, because I think those two go together and make for a stunning product. So how would you characterize the last 5 years? If I was to say to you, as this person who took a leap of faith and started this new business, and here you are 5 years in. I think this morning you said something like, well, at least I'm still in business, because a lot of business don't make it to 5 years. And gosh, I can remember that feeling after 5 years. The whole feeling that going through the calendar and thinking we've made it to that, and we're now just about to come up to 10 years, which has been an incredible time and journey, but proud to say we're still here. So how would you characterize the last 5 years, Sarah?
That gives me a new milestone anyway, to get to 10 years then.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So are you pleased you took that leap of faith 5 years ago?
Yes, I mean, it's like everything, isn't it? You have your ups and your downs. I always think that on the last day of the month, I always think, I still remember, like most people would, I still remember my paycheck from my previous life, and it was ridiculously beneficial and very good. So that's on that day I always think, this is the downside of running your own business. But everything else, I think, has given me the ability to grow my own confidence, to meet loads of other people. Our customers have been amazing, and to be honest, in the 5 years we couldn't have done it without them, because at the end of the day you are probably nothing without your customers. Because I always think you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody buys it and nobody loves it, then that's a problem. So being able to create that community, It's been great having, the recognition of people like Anthea Turner. She's become such an avid brand ambassador, and that was complete serendipity the way that came about. I'd met somebody at an event, and they called me a couple of months later and said, "Oh, Sarah, it was lovely to meet you, and I really liked your bags, and I want to gift one to Anthea Turner because she's done something for me, and I want to say thank you, and I don't want to just send, a vase of flowers." So she paid for the bag, sent it to Anthea, and then the next thing we knew, that Anthea had done a little Facebook and Instagram video saying how much she'd loved this new bag, and she genuinely has loved the bags, and from that. I had said to her, I said, "Oh, Anthea, do you think it'd be possible if I could use that video?" And she was like, yes. She's an incredibly generous person. She's like, yeah, no problem at all. And then 3 months later, I got a call from her manager who said, "How are you using this video?" And I said, "Well, Anthea told me I could." And the manager was like, "Oh my God, that's why she's got me, to stop her being so generous and everything else." I was like, "Well, she has been lovely." So we've remained together, and she has become one of our, she's our real brand ambassador. So that has been a thrill. And I think the other thing for the 5 years, probably for my family, has been us being able to move out of my house into our own offices. So that really has been a highlight of a 5-year journey, really. We've literally took over my house, and all the staff coming to my house every day. And I think sort of middle of last year, my husband fell over a pile of bags in one of the corridors, and he was like, "Right, that's it. It's enough now. You need to go and look. You need to get out of this house." So even being able to do that wasn't something that I kind of ever thought was possible. You kind of hope these things. So yeah, that's been a really good thing. Yeah.
It's an important moment, because we work from home, me and my 2 daughters, when we started. And it's a really important moment when you move into an office. It feels very grown up, very scary, because you have to pay rent on the office, and suddenly it becomes a proper business, and it's like, now we're not playing anymore.
Yes, we're not playing.
Yeah. Which brings its own pressures, but at the same time its own joy, because you do feel like you're making progress, which is terrific. And what about the future, Sarah, just to finish with? So you're 5 years in, you've obviously established a great range of bags. You've got your devotees, your people who are fans of your business, and what are your hopes now for the rest of your life?
For the rest of my life. Keep saying it. No, I do. We've got to this level, and I would really like to continue to grow the business. We're still tiny in the grand scheme of the world of handbags in particular. I think we've got a concept that could scale. It's like a big, scary step to do that. We want to keep continuing to grow, not only from being able to continue to deliver joy to our customers, but joy to all our partners, joy to our staff, being able to expand that, show them continued job opportunity. So for me, the next few years really is about continuing this journey, finding more customers, because without customers we cannot survive, and really just the whole COVID thing showed me, if nothing else, how joyless the world can be. And like you, it was great to be able to create a community. And I really want to be able to continue to grow that community, take it out on the road, go and visit them, go and see them. Now we're allowed out. So I think that for the next few years will dictate what we do. So yeah, lots of opportunity, which is great, really.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, Sarah. I think when you're in business, as you are, and I am, if you love your customers genuinely, like these people who come and buy your products, it makes the world of difference, because everything you do seems to have so much more pleasure attached to it, because they're real people and they're giving you feedback all the time, and it's the feedback that keeps you going, because it's like, okay, I can do this, when you're tired and feeling a bit dispirited for one reason or another. And you've obviously got that with what you've created, so that's fantastic, and it's lovely to hear. And well done with the Anthea Turner thing. And agents, what a pain in the backside are they, because we've had one or two triumphs with people. We had Judi Dench, who yes, is a total icon for us, and she tried, I think her makeup artist tried one of our lipsticks on her, and we got a quote from her, and it was such a lovely quote, and then the agent found out and went ballistic and just said, get that off all your social media. It was on there for about 24 hours, and Judi Dench says that was worth about £50,000 or something from
They do some sort of conversion, don't they, about the value of a comment. I mean,
it's a terrible people, but of course they're there to protect the star. But it does make it tangible if you get a genuine interest, like with somebody like Anthea Turner. It's brilliant. Well done. Let's ask Brian, have we got any questions? Do shove some questions down there if you want to now. Any questions?
We've had 2 questions. The first one was from Julie. Julie wants to know, Sarah, where your handbags are made.
Yep. So originally when I first made them, it was just me making them. And then to scale, I got a small atelier in Manchester. And they still work with us on some of our more limited edition pieces. And then the bulk of it is in a small family-run atelier in Istanbul. And they're a very small family-run business as well. And we've got 15 people that all work making our bags and our bags alone, which is kind of rather magic.
Do you have to make trips to Istanbul to see
the
factory?
Yes. So I go at least twice a year. And COVID actually was quite helpful, because I used to go and do all the QCing. So that meant I would have to go and check every single handbag and every single of the handbag. So the good thing about COVID for me was that we put in processes that they were able to check. So when I go there now, rather than checking the whole production, I check certain parts of it, which actually means that I can spend more time talking to the team, about, how we do this or think about doing that, rather than sitting there with white gloves checking every single bag. So yeah, that's why I try and count the good things about COVID. So that for me was one of them.
Amazing. And then there's a question from Anna, which could be a difficult question, but she said, if you could only have one style of the base bag, what would it be? What's your favorite?
I think the Dahlia is probably my favorite. It was the first bag that I really designed, and it was the one that I really loved. And it's the one that is like an every woman bag. Whatever you do, this bag will take you there, and you can make it smaller, you can make it different. So I think it is a real staple to have in anybody's wardrobe. So yeah, I think the Dahlia.
Amazing, thank you. That was it on the questions, Tricia.
Thank you very much, Bryony. So let me do the important bit now. So we're running a competition. You win one of Sarah's bags, which is worth £250, and £200 worth of Look Fabulous Forever goodies. My goodness, how is that? That's a lot. So it's our biggest giveaway, and Bryony is putting the link in the chat function. And she'll also put it under the video, won't you? So this is being recorded. It'll go onto YouTube. We'll send out the link to that, don't we? Or if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, it's free. You don't have to pay any money. It's free. You will get notification whenever we put out a video. We put out a video every week now. Sometimes more. I'm making one at the end of this week. Bryony tells me.
That's like. We've got Bryony as well, and she tells me when I'm making videos. So that's extraordinary. You've got a Bryony and I've got a Bryony, because it's not a normal net, not normal, but it's not a overused net.
Unusual.
Yes,
okay, so hopefully you'll find the link to that. Just it's free to enter the competition, and you may win. Somebody's got to. And Sarah has very generously given us a special code to get 20% 20% off, isn't it, Sarah?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
So the code is LFF20. And she's also giving you, when you buy a bag using that code, a free leather organizer case.
I've got it just here. So it's a lovely little organizer. So you can put it inside your bag. It's got little pieces in there. So you can either put lipsticks in it or pens, anything that you want really is another little bit of organization in your handbag, all in leather. So nothing else. It's just a lovely little extra to have as part of your welcome to the brand.
Absolutely. And that's got takes several lipsticks written all over it.
It absolutely does. You're so right. Yes. Yeah. And I reckon a lip pencil as well would fit in one of those little compartments. So it's
absolutely
perfect.
All right, so that's very generous of you, Sarah. Thank you very much. And thank you for a lovely chat. It was delightful to meet you. And I wish you every success and all the luck in the world. I understand and get what it means to take a leap of faith and start a business, because I've done it myself, and I know the challenges of that. And I love hearing stories like yours, because I think they actually make the world go round. It sounds like you've got a terrific business. You've got a great business head, but also design head, and I love that side of your business as well. So congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you as well for introducing me to your customers, and the fact that you've been going, that's an inspiration to me for at least my other 5 years, and by the time I get to that, you'll have done at least another 10. So you're going to set milestones for me all the way along. So amazing.
And Sarah, I shall be 85 in 10 years time.
Just a number. That's what we know.
I'm literally just starting. I should just literally just be starting at that point.
Excellent.
All right, on that note,
I'll say
goodbye, and I'll say goodbye to everybody who came and joined our call. It was absolutely brilliant to have your company, as it always is. Thank you to Alison and Sue for a lovely little session that I had with them, and thank you to Bryony for all the organisation on the call. And yes, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.